Starfield. Another maybe soon to be amazing release in this era of gaming is dead, but not really so dead because we've had so many epic games this year. It's hard to believe that yet another epic game could even squeeze itself onto the calendar. Anyway, we're here to discuss Starfield and whether or not it's going to hit the mark or just fall off the map like another overhyped IP. And we're going to go through some of the good, some of the bad, discuss other games that have failed, how they failed, why they failed. It's going to be quite the journey, so let's get to it. When Starfield revealed its world and gameplay in June of last year, I was quite impressed. I thought, now this is going to be something else if it hits the mark. The worlds, the gameplay and weapons, which seemed good-ish. Okay, maybe not so good on that one, but the story, the branches that we could take looked to be boundless and full of wonder. It felt like it was going to be a game, a true game. Not some go here, do this walking tech demo or yet another cash grab FPS, but a game that grabbed you from the moment you pressed the start button and continued to hold your attention even after you stopped playing and came back to our world. Now, don't get me wrong, there were of course a few things that had me worried. It also had quite a few people more than concerned, but these days you could give someone the moon and they'd complain that the gravitational pull is kind of bothering them or that it's the wrong color. Heck, I remember The Witcher 3 being so good, people complained about the cover art. Because other than that and the usual bugs, there weren't too many end-of-the-world things to bitch about. But yeah, given Starfield's release window, back then anyway, these missteps, like the okay gunplay, the terrible frame rate, and the dulled color palette, did seem like they might prove to be worrisome. Now, some of these things shouldn't actually bother you though. Remember that Fallout New Vegas had some of the worst graphics and animations and bugs even for the time it was released in. Fallout 3 as well. I'll admit it took me 3 tries to actually get into it, New Vegas, but when it clicked, I couldn't stop playing. The world was amazing. Graphics, which don't make a game fun by the way, is something we push onto the devs and they push that back onto us. So now it seems like good graphics make a good game. But that's far from true. MK11 is still one of the best looking fighting games, but most above casual fighting gamers would rather play Street Fighter 3 Third Strike, Tekken Tag, or King of Fighters 2002 over it. Side note here, not sure on the true full story, but back when production toothpaste was still relatively new, the tingly, foamy sensation you got from the paste was apparently just a reaction from the baking soda and some other ingredients. But now we don't need that home remedy solution anymore, and when it was removed, people complained that the tingly sensation wasn't there, so their teeth no longer felt clean. So the modern toothpaste only implement that because we pushed that onto them and now them onto us. Now the tingly, foamy sensation is just a standard for no good reason. Unlike that, however, good graphics take far more time, effort, and money. It only serves as a great hardware benchmark test for the latest GPU series that end users have no clue how to use anyway. These guys will buy the game day one and complain about it like it's the worst thing to ever happen, and then proceed to list their PC specs right down to the friggin' mousepad for some reason. For the love of God, Cupcake, don't buy games day one. Of course, if you want to support the company, buy the game after you've established it suits your outline for a stable game. Else you're telling the game devs it's okay to release a partially broken game day one because we keep buying them day one. And they keep telling us it's normal for a day one broken release, but it's not. We create the standard and we can break it if we please to do so. You know, kind of like when everyone keeps calling everything next gen. It's not next gen, it's current gen. And maybe that's why people keep expecting more from everything to be next gen, because we keep calling it next gen. Anyway, did you really think the guys that brought you mediocre graphics in Fallout 3 and Fallout 4 were suddenly going to do that in their latest game? Yeah, right. Fast forward 1 year later and we have Starfield Direct. Good lord, this blew me away. Everything about it seemed clean, improved, brighter, bigger, crazier. It was the game that many people had been waiting for in some cases. The next Skyrim, which was also amazing and also had sucky graphics. Of course, some of the lingering and new worries were there, like, hey, there are over 1,000 planets to explore and there are no land vehicles we can use on the planet. New Vegas has no vehicles, but New Vegas wasn't anywhere near as big as this, so yeah, how's that gonna work? Also, 1,000 planets? That's more than quite a few. One planet is more than enough, but this is a space game, so that wouldn't really make any sense. Maybe an entire solar system? But it's not just one. It's over 100 solar systems. This is beyond ambitious, and if they somehow manage to pull this off, well, that'll be something else. Don't get me wrong, the improvements like the gunplay now actually look pretty damn decent. I mean, I might actually enjoy this as an FPS. The frame rate, which was quite the concern for many, now seems really stable-ish and quite smooth. Yeah, okay, before you go on about how detrimental 30 frames are to your oh-so-sensitive eyes, an unstable frame rate can really do harm to some people, so I mean, Take it as you will. If the game is great, you can just add this to the growing list of things that give you that nagging feeling. Oh, also the lighting and environments really seem to have quite the makeover. Luckily, the release date was pushed forward and the years spent polishing and improving this really made it shine in the presentation. Except the NPC character models and facial animations, they seem damn stiff and those eyes just bother the heck out of me. They look painted on almost, like the cornea has no depth to it. Well, I wasn't expecting any mind-blowing facial animations from the creators of Fallout, so I mean they could have at least made an effort on the eye part, like let's be honest. If you go into ArtStation, even amateur artists have a great understanding of how to create eyes. It can't be that hard, can it? It isn't. Oh, also Baldur's Gate 3 just released, and have you seen the facial animations? How the heck did some unknown company, compared to Bethesda, get such good facial animations? It makes no freaking sense. I mean, cause you know, Bethesda got that Cate Blanchett money.
I mean, carte blanche.
Welcome back, dum-dum.
I can understand the whole animation system is quite the headache to deal with, but come on, the facial animations, at least get that one right. But like I said, in the grand scheme of things, stuff like this doesn't really matter. Yes, you might say it takes away from your immersion. Your immersion, people have been immersed in games since the first StarCraft, so no, it doesn't break your immersion, trust me. So yeah, as great as the Direct was, there is of course a chance that all of this was yet another well put together presentation without any actual meat. I mean, we've never got any actual in-mission walkthroughs or quest examples in which our character or group is going from point A to point B, only snippets of points and gameplay. So, are there real signs that might point to the actual poor state of this game? Well, for that I'm gonna have to talk about Cyberpunk 2077. Yeah, I know, this game has taken quite the beating lately, well, maybe not lately, but allow me to point out some of the telltale signs that were always there but were completely ignored by us, or most of us anyway, including myself. When Cyberpunk was first revealed in 2013, yeah, it was before The Witcher 3 even came out, I could not wait for this game to hit the shelves, no matter how long it took. The concept had me totally hooked right from the get-go, the world, the setting, the euphoria of it all, breathtaking to say the least. The development was kept pretty quiet after the initial reveal, but sometime after there were articles of how the game was being rebooted due to some parts not suiting the Big Ops vision or something of that sort, and this seemed unfortunate, but hey, it happens in production all the time, right? Well, maybe. Let's fast forward a few more years and take a look at the deep dive video that was released in 2018. Over here we are greeted with some epic vistas, crowds and gameplay, but just like the citizens of Venice being fooled by Il Bragadino, we wanted to believe so bad that we didn't notice all the smoke and mirrors being used to show us only what they wanted us to see. Our wildest fantasies were being indulged. Now, after the first reveal and mission, we get roped into a car chase, which might have seemed cool at first, but there's no denying the pure cartoony look of the whole thing. Then after that, we take a drive, and the same yellow car is seen stopping at a T-junction waiting for us. We see it again almost a minute later, and again 10 seconds later. For a world so alive and seamless, everything outside of the first reveal was a hint at the lack of variety, and also showcased just how empty the streets actually were. I mean, go back and rewatch all the road scenes after they hop into the car. The streets after the chase scene, including the highways, were barren to say the least. No people, no cars, almost nothing really. Now I do realize that games only have a certain number of assets to implement, and this could of course be seen as just that. Just like in GTA or Saints Row when a fancy car pulls up 3 or 4 times in a row, this is quite normal in these type of games to do that, or well, any game, including Starfield. So I'll give them the benefit of the doubt on the repeated assets part, but the empty streets, that's getting kinda suspicious. Heck, I remember seeing a pedestrian pop off screen while walking relatively close to our character in the demo. Not only that, but other NPCs never really reacted to our person walking near them unless it was a clearly scripted interaction. And of course, as we get closer to launch, some funny things started to happen. One in particular really grabbed my attention, but just like everyone else, or most people anyway, I didn't really attribute too much importance to it. It was the cutting of content, the wall running mechanic to be specific. Now, the only time people would cut content so close to the release date would be because they didn't have the time to implement it, or because it was put in as an afterthought, and now the devs didn't really see it as something that added value to the game. But this can't be the case, as this mechanic was in the 2018 demo, so it certainly wasn't cut for that reason, as we now know. The game just wasn't ready, so of course they had to start chopping things off to slim it down. 2020 arrives. The reviews are out. Lo and behold, it's a complete madhouse. Some praising, some ranting, others confused. The last gen releases were a total joke. CDPR stocks tanked. I mean, it was really, really bad. Whoa, hang on a second there, Thivolan. You might be saying, all that might be true, but I don't care because Pan Am's ass is amazing. Okay, yeah, I'll give that to you, but is it $60 amazing? What about $30? More like $15 in my books. Heck, you could get a browser subscription for $29, and they have exclusive scenes by Madison Iver, Kira Noor, Angela White. Anyway, that's not the point here. It's a point I'll come to later. There's a reason as to why Cyberpunk is still one of the most played games on Steam, with over 10,000 users online every day. People still believe in the game, they want it to succeed. And as much as 2077 screwed up, apparently there's a lot to like about Night City. The story, the environments, the side quests, according to some people, the abilities, Pan Am. The framework for a great game was clearly always there. It just didn't pan out that way, unfortunately. Be that as it may, of course, a lot of what I'm saying is quite biased, because in retrospect, we now know what negative traits to actually look for in Cyberpunk. But in Starfield's case, we kinda don't. The color palette could end up being so unbelievably dull and muddy. The side quests could all be the same nonsense with just a different spin on materials or characters or cargo types. The companions might actually have really uninspired story arcs and may prove to be more of a nuisance than an actual help. The land travel without vehicles may be boring and filled with wide spans of absolutely no content when out exploring planets with no life, of which I'm guessing there's quite a few, as they are going for more of a realistic approach to the system design, so Now, given all of that, even in this era of gaming is dead, corporate greed, loot boxes and overhyped IPs, us gamers still choose to err on the side of optimism, because even though people are so unbelievably mean and narcissistic and cruel and unforgiving, there are those of us who just want to believe in the good. To believe that something new and exciting is around the corner, and that is why Starfield excites so many of us. Yes, it could fail, but screw that, this year's had so many epic releases and remakes that a lot of people doubted. It's hard to believe 2023 will end on such a lone note. There's so many things I could still talk about, like the base building, the ship building, the weapon types, the mysterious powers. That look pretty cool. The in-space encounters, the companion system, all these things make me and millions of others want to believe that Starfield will succeed. And if this game ends up being great, then I hope to see you amongst the stars. Thank you.